Good morning, children. Sai Ram. Let us continue with the chapter The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. We have seen in the last video, Peterson brings a hat and a goose to Sherlock Holmes. He draws some conclusion regarding the owner, and he says so many things about the owner. Dr. Watson does not believe him. He tells him to explain why he thinks so. Let us see what he explains in this video. I am sure I am very stupid, but I am afraid I don't follow. For example, how did you deduce that this man was intelligent? Holmes put the hat on his head. It was too big and covered his eyes. It's simply a question of size, he said. A man with such a large head must sure have something inside it. So what does he say? That since the head of that person must be very huge, that shows that he must be intelligent. Let's see what happens. How about losing money? This hat is 3 years old. I can tell that by the style. It's a very good quality hat. Look at the silk lining. The man could afford to buy an expensive hat 3 years ago, but he hasn't bought a new one since then. So, what do you understand by lining? Lining means a cloth that is inside a piece of clothing. So, lining, that is a thin cloth which was inside the hat. So, what does he say? When Dr. Watson asked him how he came to know that this person must have lost money, Sherlock Holmes says that the hat what he has is of very good quality hat, and this style existed 3 years ago. How it is good quality? By seeing the silk lining he can understand. That shows that this person could buy this expensive hat 3 years ago, but he has not bought any new one. It shows that maybe the person must have lost money after that. Therefore, we can guess he has less money now than when he bought the hat. Well, that's clear enough. But how about being careful and losing his self-esteem? Who is asking? Dr. Watson. Sherlock Holmes laughed. This is why he is careful, he said, pointing to the loop used to fix the hat to the head. Dr. Watson is satisfied by his answer. But then he asked him, how can he say that he was careful but now he has lost his self-esteem? Then he points out at the loop used to fix the hat to the head. So what has happened to the loop? They never sell hats with loops. You have to order the loop specially. If this man ordered one, it shows he had thought about the danger of losing his hat in the wind. But since it's now broken and he hasn't bothered to replace it, we can guess he isn't as careful as he was before. So what does he say? That this hat is a special type of hat. Okay, he must have ordered this type of hat, because you don't get a hat like this with a loop. So because he wanted to be careful that he should not lose it, that is why he must have ordered such type of hat. But now that you see the loop is broken, you can understand that he is not that careful nowadays. On the other hand, he has tried to hide some of these stains with ink, so he hasn't completely lost his self-esteem. So he says that he has tried to hide the stains with the help of ink, which shows that he has not lost the self-esteem, that is importance, self-worth, giving importance to himself. He has not completely lost it. That is believable. As for the other points, that he is middle-aged, that his hair is curly, that it's recently been cut, and that he uses hair cream, we can see all these by looking closely at the lining. If you look through the magnifying glass, you will see a lot of small hairs by the hairdresser's scissors. The hairs are grey, they are sticking to the hat, and there's a smell of hair cream. Dr. Watson believes to whatever Sherlock Holmes says. Then Sherlock Holmes explains why he said that the person must have had a haircut. He says that if you look through the magnifying glass, what you can see small hairs cut by the hairdresser's scissors, and the hairs are grey and they are sticking to the hat, and you can get the smell of hair cream. You should also look carefully at the dust. This is not the thick dust you find in the street. It's a fine dust you find in the house. So clearly, the hat has been indoors most of the time. And finally, these marks on the inside show that the owner sweats a lot, so he can't be very fit. Sherlock Holmes explains that you see a fine dust has accumulated on the hat, which shows that the hat must be kept indoors most of the time. And finally, he says that there are marks on the inside, which shows that the owner sweats a lot, which shows that he must not be fit. You have an answer to everything. But how on earth can you tell that he doesn't have gas in his house? There are 5 candle stains on the hat. Who would use a candle when they have gas? So, how did he understand that he was not having gas? Because he found candle stains. So, if you have gas, will you use candles? Well, it's very clever, I said, laughing. But as you said, there hasn't been a crime. It all seems rather a waste of energy, isn't it? So here, Watson says that it's just a waste of time if you are just trying to find out all this, because there is no crime committed. Sherlock Holmes had opened his mouth to reply, when the door suddenly opened and Peterson, the security guard, rushed in with a look of amazement on his face. "The goose, Mr. Holmes, the goose, sir," he said in excitement. "What about it? Has it returned to life and flown away through the kitchen window?" Here, amazement means a look of great surprise. So when Holmes wanted to answer Watson, who comes in? Peterson. the security guard, and there was, a look of amazement. He was very surprised. Now, what surprised him? He couldn't speak. What he was saying? The goose, the goose. To that, Holmes thought that, sarcastically he is remarking whether it has come to life and it has flown away from the kitchen window. Let's see what happens. Look here, sir. Look what my wife found in its stomach. In his hand there was a brilliant blue stone, about the size of a bean, but so pure that it shone and twinkled like an electric spark. Sherlock Holmes sat up straight. My God, Peterson, he said, do you know what it is? So, Peterson brings the blue stone. The blue stone shone very brightly. Seeing that, Sherlock Holmes understood what it was, and he asked Peterson whether he has understood what it was. It was the blue carbuncle. Let's see. A diamond, sir. It cuts glass very easily. It's more than a diamond. It is the diamond. Not the Countess of Morcar's blue carbuncle, I said. Carbuncle is a valuable stone, usually red in color. Here you can see the two colors, right? But this one was the blue carbuncle. This carbuncle belonged to the Countess of Morcar. Countess means is a lady of count. Count is actually a noble man, okay, who has a higher rank under the king. So, Countess of Morcar was lady of a nobleman. Exactly the diamond that everyone is talking about. I have read about it in the newspapers every day this week. There's no other stone like it in the world. She is offering a reward of £1,000, but it's probably worth 20 times that. £1,000? My God! Peterson sat down heavily in a chair and looked one of us to the other. It was lost at the Hotel Cosmopolitan, wasn't it? I said. Holmes said that he has read about it in the newspapers, and the blue carbuncle was very costly. The Countess had offered £1,000, but it is worth 20 times more than it. Okay? Hearing this, Peterson was surprised. Now, where it was lost? It was lost at the Hotel Cosmopolitan. Okay? Holmes recalled reading about the theft. It had been stolen from the Countess of Morcar while she was staying at the Hotel Cosmopolitan. A plumber who had come in to set something right in the room had been accused of the theft. So, Holmes says that he has read about it. And where it was lost? It was actually stolen when the Countess of Morcar was staying at the Hotel Cosmopolitan. And who is accused? Who is charged of the theft? A plumber. Ryder, an attendant at the hotel, had given evidence that he had shown the plumber in shortly before the stone went missing. So who has given the witness? Ryder. Who was Ryder? The attendant. So Ryder has given the witness that it was the plumber who had gone to the room before the stone went missing. The question for us now to solve is the sequence of events, Watson. You see, our little deductions have suddenly assumed a much more important and less innocent aspect. Here is the stone came from the goose, and the goose came from Mr. Henry Baker, the gentleman with the bad hat, and all the other characteristics with which I have bored you. So now we must set ourselves very seriously to finding this gentleman and ascertaining what part he has played in this little mystery. Ascertaining means finding out the true or correct information about something. So now Holmes tells Watson that whatever deductions, whatever conclusions he has come to, it is all correct. So now they have to understand who has done it. Okay? So they have to find out this gentleman, that is Henry Baker, because he plays a very important part in this mystery. To do this, we must try the simplest means first, and these lie undoubtedly in an advertisement in all the evening papers. If this fails, I shall have recourse to other methods. What will you say? Now here, recourse means take aid or help. Now, Holmes says that we have to first find out this person. Now, in order to find out this person, we have to put up an advertisement in all the evening papers. Give me a pencil and that slip of paper. Now then, found at the corner of Goose Street, a goose and a black felt hat. Mr. Henry Baker can have the same by applying at 6:30 this evening at 221B Baker Street. That is clear and concise. So what he does? He puts up an advertisement in all the evening papers, so that this person, Henry Baker, can come to him and get the hat and the goose. It is becoming very interesting, isn't it? Let's see whether Sherlock Holmes finds the actual Henry Baker in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Have a nice day.